Your mind is either your greatest asset or your heaviest limitation. Everything you are capable of, everything you hope to create, every decision you will ever make, begins in the space between your ears. Yet most people let that space run on autopilot. They surrender control to fear, to doubt, to the endless stream of other people's opinions. And then they wonder why nothing in their life seems to change. But here's the truth. The ceiling above you is not set by the economy, by luck, or by talent. It is set by the limits you place on your own thinking. The difference between the life you settle for and the life you truly deserve is measured in mindset. Think of your mind like a machine. If it runs with precision, with clarity, with discipline, it produces results that compound. But if it's clogged with hesitation, negativity, or excuses, it will keep jamming no matter how hard you work. That's why mastering your mindset is not optional. It's the foundation for every success that follows. Most people chase results without addressing the source. They try harder at work, they chase new opportunities, they pile on tasks, but deep down, they are running in circles. Why? Because the engine powering all those actions, their mindset, is still wired for limitation. Hard work without the right mindset is like sprinting on a treadmill. You sweat, but you don't move forward. The first step toward change is reclaiming control over your mental environment. Weak thoughts will whisper every day, "You're not ready. This will never work. You don't have what it takes." Those thoughts are not commands. They are uninvited guests. You can choose whether to give them a seat at your table or show them the door. Every time you replace weakness with strength, you take back ground in your own mind. This is not about blind positivity. It's about discipline. Discipline in the way you think, the way you filter input, and the way you decide what deserves your focus. Discipline beats motivation because motivation fades. A disciplined mind can carry you even when emotions dip and energy feels low. Imagine two people facing the same obstacle. One says, "This is impossible. I should stop now." The other says, "I'll find a way forward, one step at a time." Both statements become self-fulfilling. One creates paralysis, the other creates momentum. Which one do you want to become? From this moment on, your challenge is simple. Stop letting your thoughts drag you around. Stop giving fear and doubt the microphone. Instead, decide to direct your mindset like a commander leading troops. You don't wait to feel ready. You decide the standard and you live by it. Now, let's make this interactive. If you're listening right now, drop a comment and share where you're watching from and what time it is. It's inspiring to see how people all over the world are tuning in together. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the stories here on Audiobook Sanctuary. This community is about growth, and I want you to be part of it. Because here's what you need to remember. Your life will not rise higher than the limits of your thinking. If your mindset is small, your life stays small. If your mindset expands, so does your world. That's why mastering your mindset is not just an idea, it's a necessity. But how do you start? What's the very first move in reclaiming your mind? It begins with clarity. Without clarity, your mind doesn't know where to aim, your actions don't know where to land, and your life becomes activity without progress. Clarity is the foundation of all momentum. And that is exactly where we go next. Clarity is the starting point of every transformation. Without it, life feels like wandering through fog, busy, moving, but without progress. You might work hard, chase opportunities, and fill your calendar with activity, yet find yourself in the same place year after year. The truth is simple. Hard work only pays off when it is connected to clear direction. Clarity means knowing exactly what you want and why you want it. It's not enough to say, "I want success." Success is too vague. Does it mean building your own business, achieving financial independence, enjoying work you love, or becoming healthier and stronger? Until you define it, your mind has no target. And when your mind has no target, it fires your energy in every direction, never hitting the bullseye. Picture this. Someone says they want to travel, but can't tell you which country, which city, or when. They'll never leave the airport. That's what happens when your goals are undefined. You drift, distracted by new ideas every week, jumping from one project to another, hoping something will stick. Years later, you realize you've been in constant motion but never moved forward. Clarity changes that. When you're clear, every decision runs through a filter. Does this move me closer to my goal or further away? Suddenly, choices become easier. You stop saying yes to everything and start saying no with confidence. Clarity is not just a vision. It's permission to cut away what doesn't fit. But here's where most people fail. They confuse clarity with interest. They write down goals once, feel excited, and expect the universe to deliver. Clarity without commitment is daydreaming. Commitment means working when it's inconvenient, showing up when you're tired, pushing forward even when motivation is gone. The difference between those who achieve and those who don't is not clarity alone, but clarity backed by relentless commitment. And then there's your why. Wanting money is not enough. Wanting health is not enough. The question is, why do you want it? If your why is shallow, you'll quit at the first setback. If your why is strong, it becomes fuel. People with fewer resources, fewer advantages, and bigger obstacles succeed every day because their why is powerful enough to keep them moving. Fear often keeps people from choosing. Fear of failure. Fear of choosing the wrong goal. Fear of what others might say. But avoiding the choice doesn't protect you. It only guarantees drifting. If you don't choose, life will choose for you. And the result is rarely the life you truly wanted. So here's your challenge. Sit down, away from distractions, and design your life in detail. Where do you want to live? How do you want to spend your days? Who do you want by your side? What kind of work energizes you? How do you want to feel waking up each morning? Answer with specifics. Don't say, "I want happiness." Define what happiness looks like for you. When you do this, something shifts. Your brain lights up. You feel energy surge because the mind loves clarity. It begins connecting dots, noticing opportunities you once ignored, filtering distractions automatically. That's not magic. It's focus. The clearer you are, the more your world organizes itself around that vision. But clarity is fragile. It must be guarded. Without vigilance, distractions creep back in. You'll feel pulled in every direction. This idea today, that opportunity tomorrow. Protect your clarity by revisiting it often, refining it, and speaking it out loud. Clarity isn't a one-time exercise. It's a practice. Once you choose, commit. Even if you don't know all the steps, begin. The path becomes clearer as you move. What matters most is that you're moving in a direction that matters to you. Progress beats perfection. And here's the reward. When you live with clarity, your life lines up with your intentions. You stop drifting, you stop settling, you begin building. One day you wake up and realize the life you once imagined has become the life you're actually living. Clarity is the first foundation of mastering your mindset. But clarity alone won't carry you. You also need to defend that clarity against the constant storm of weakening thoughts that try to invade your mind. That's the next step. Learning to recognize and reject thoughts that make you smaller. Every day, your mind generates thousands of thoughts. Some build you up and keep you moving forward. Others tear you down quietly, convincing you to hesitate, delay, or quit. If you don't train your brain to recognize and reject these weakening thoughts, they will take control without you even noticing. Over time, they become the silent architects of a smaller life. Here's the truth you must remember. Thoughts are not facts. Just because you think something doesn't mean it deserves to be treated as truth. Yet many people let their first thought of the morning define their entire day. I'm tired. I'm not capable. I'll probably fail. These statements are not destiny. They are mental events, passing clouds. But if you accept them repeatedly, they become beliefs. And once they become beliefs, they shape your identity. The first step is awareness. You cannot fight what you don't see. Start paying attention to your inner dialogue. Notice what you say to yourself when you wake up. Notice what comes to mind when you make a mistake. Notice the language you use when you imagine your future. Awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly you see what's been hiding there all along. When a weakening thought shows up, don't let it set the rules. Ask yourself, is this true? Is it useful? Does it make me stronger or weaker? If the answer is weaker, it has no right to stay. Replace it deliberately. Instead of, I can't do this, say, I'll figure this out step by step. Instead of, I'm not ready, say, I'm learning as I go. You're not lying to yourself. You're choosing a frame that fuels action instead of killing it. This practice requires repetition. Just like a muscle grows through repeated training, your mind rewires itself through repeated thought replacement. The first time you catch yourself, it may feel awkward. The 10th time, it feels easier. The 100th time, it feels natural. With practice, you create a new default, a mind that favors strength over weakness. And don't forget, your input shapes your thoughts. If you constantly consume negativity, arguments, gossip, or bad news, your thoughts will reflect it. You cannot pour poison into the well and expect clean water. If you want stronger thoughts, choose stronger input. Read books that challenge you. Listen to voices that inspire discipline. Spend time with people who pull you forward instead of dragging you back. Another key insight: you are not your thoughts. You are the observer. Weak thoughts may knock on the door, but you decide whether to let them inside. They are uninvited guests. Treat them as such. Acknowledge their presence, but don't give them a seat at the table. This separation of identity from thought gives you freedom. Even your body plays a role. Your posture, your breathing, your movement, all of it influences what thoughts surface. Slouch, stay inactive, and you invite weakness. Stand tall, move with purpose, breathe deeply, and you send your brain a different message. You are alert, capable, and ready. Small physical changes can interrupt the spiral of weak thinking before it takes control. Think of it this way: every weak thought you reject strengthens your discipline muscle. Every time you refuse to feed doubt, you train your brain to favor resilience. Over time, the strong thoughts outnumber the weak ones. Not because weakness disappears, but because you've stopped giving it power. Don't make the mistake of aiming to eliminate all negative thoughts. That's impossible. The goal is not zero weakness, it's zero control. Weakening thoughts will always arrive, but they don't get to decide your behavior. They don't get to dictate your future. And remember, some of the most dangerous weak thoughts are the quiet ones. Maybe later. It's not the right time. You're not quite ready. They sound reasonable, but they're excuses in disguise. Left unchecked, they waste years. Recognize them early, and you'll reclaim time that most people throw away. The way you speak to yourself sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start the day by repeating weakness, you've surrendered before you've even begun. But if you start with strength, reminding yourself of your capacity, you frame the entire day with power. This is how you turn your mind from an enemy into an ally. Reject the thoughts that make you smaller. Feed the thoughts that make you stronger. And as you repeat this process, your inner world transforms. You'll find yourself taking actions you once avoided, persisting through obstacles that once stopped you, and living with a confidence that grows deeper each day. But even after you've learned to guard your thoughts, there's another battle waiting. Because it's not just thoughts that can derail you, it's emotions. If left unchecked, emotions can hijack your day faster than any thought. That's why the next step is mastering emotional discipline, so you can respond with clarity instead of being ruled by impulse. Every morning you face the same invisible fork in the road. Will you control your day, or will your day control you? For most people, emotions make the choice before they've had a chance to think. A single text message, a stressful headline, a minor inconvenience in traffic. And suddenly the whole day is colored by irritation, worry, or discouragement. The tragedy is not that emotions appear, but that so many people hand them the keys and let them drive unchecked. Here's the crucial distinction. Emotions are signals, not commands. Anger signals that a boundary was crossed. Fear signals uncertainty or potential risk. Sadness signals loss. These signals are useful information, but they are not instructions you must follow. If you confuse signals for orders, you lash out when angry, freeze when afraid, and quit when discouraged. The result? A life constantly steered off course by passing moods. Strong emotions aren't the enemy. The real problem is impulsive reaction. Think about the times you said something in anger you later regretted, or the opportunities you walked away from because anxiety convinced you not to try. In those moments, emotion dictated your action. And once an impulsive decision is made, you often can't take it back. The skill you need is the pause. Between what happens and how you respond, there is always a gap. Most people rush through it without noticing, but if you can expand that gap, even by a few seconds, you regain control. That pause is where discipline enters. That pause is where you decide, will I react blindly or will I respond with intention? This is not about suppressing emotion. Suppression only makes it louder later. It's about acknowledgement without surrender. You feel the anger, but you don't let it speak for you. You notice the fear, but you don't let it dictate your next move. You observe the sadness, but you don't let it keep you in bed for a week. You let emotions inform, not command. Here's another truth. Your body fuels your emotions more than you realize. Lack of sleep, poor nutrition, and constant stress create an unstable baseline. When you're exhausted, irritation feels sharper. When you're hungry, small problems feel overwhelming. When your body is neglected, your emotional state spirals. Taking care of your physical health isn't just self-care, it's emotional armor. A strong body steadies the mind. And just as thoughts shouldn't define you, emotions shouldn't define you either. Feeling anxious doesn't make you a weak person. Feeling angry doesn't mean you are an angry person. Emotions are passing weather. If you confuse them with your identity, you lock yourself inside them. But if you see them as temporary experiences, you allow them to pass. One powerful strategy is to set your intention before the day begins. Decide how you want to feel and act. Maybe you choose patience. Maybe you choose gratitude. Maybe you choose focus. That becomes your anchor. When an emotion rises that doesn't match, you notice it instantly. And once you notice it, you can choose. Let it stay or let it pass. Environment shapes emotions as much as inner willpower. Some people thrive on drama and negativity. If you spend hours with them, don't be surprised when your own emotions spin out. Likewise, a chaotic environment creates a chaotic mind. Protect yourself by designing your surroundings carefully, both the people you allow close and the spaces you live and work in. Practicing emotional discipline doesn't mean perfection. You'll slip. You'll overreact sometimes. That's okay. The goal is not never falling, but recovering quickly. Don't let one heated moment ruin a day, and don't let one rough day spiral into a wasted week. Notice, reset, and move on. Progress comes from shortening the recovery time. Look at the most respected leaders, athletes, or creators. They experience the same frustrations and setbacks as everyone else. The difference is their steadiness. They don't let emotions dictate their actions. They pause, they process, and they respond with clarity. That's why people trust them, follow them, and respect them. As you practice, something profound happens. Confidence grows. You no longer fear high-pressure moments because you know you won't lose control. You stop avoiding challenges because you trust yourself to respond wisely. That calmness becomes your edge in a chaotic world. Tomorrow, when the first strong emotion hits you, pause. Ask, is this pulling me toward the day I want, or away from it? If it's away, choose a different response. Repeat this until emotional steadiness becomes your default. But remember, thoughts and emotions are only part of the picture. Even if you manage both, your daily behaviors must align with the future you claim to want. Without that alignment, your vision collapses under contradiction. That's why the next step is crucial. Choosing behaviors that cast daily votes for the life you're building. Your future is not built in giant leaps. It's built in the small, ordinary choices you repeat every single day. Look around at your life right now. Your health, your career, your relationships, your financial state. None of it is accidental. All of it is the compound result of behaviors you've practiced consistently, whether intentionally or not. This is why clarity and emotional discipline mean nothing unless your behaviors align with the life you say you want. Too many people dream of success, but live in contradiction. They want financial freedom, but spend recklessly. They want health, but skip exercise and eat carelessly. They want meaningful relationships, but never give attention or effort. The gap between dreams and reality is filled with behaviors that don't match. Think of every behavior as a vote. Each decision, from how you use your mornings to how you spend your money, is casting a ballot for the kind of person you're becoming. The life you will live tomorrow is the sum of the votes you're casting today. The person who constantly votes for distraction, laziness, or comfort will never wake up inside the life of discipline, strength, and freedom they claim to want. So here's the rule. Every choice runs through a filter. Ask yourself, does this action move me closer to the future I want or further away? This question cuts through confusion. It stops you from justifying comfort in the moment. It reminds you that every decision matters. Not one or two big moments, but thousands of small ones. But let's be clear, changing behavior is not easy. Habits are stubborn. They are grooves carved by years of repetition. To change, you must first face the truth. Where are you sabotaging yourself? Maybe you waste hours scrolling. Maybe you avoid the tasks that matter most. Maybe you chase quick pleasure instead of long-term gain. Brutal honesty is the beginning of transformation. Without it, you'll keep lying to yourself about why you're stuck. Then comes deliberate replacement. If your goal is financial independence, your behavior must reflect discipline in earning, saving, and investing. If your goal is health, your behavior must reflect discipline in eating, exercising, and resting. If your goal is growth in your career, your behavior must reflect discipline in learning, producing results, and taking initiative. Your behaviors must match the vision. Otherwise, your vision collapses. Here's another trap to avoid: waiting until you feel ready. You'll never feel ready. Action creates readiness, not the other way around. The more you practice the behavior, the more natural it becomes. At first, discipline feels forced. Then it becomes normal. Eventually, it becomes your identity. That's how real change sticks. And don't underestimate the power of delayed gratification. The behaviors that create your future often require giving up comfort now for reward later. Saying no to an impulse purchase so you can invest. Saying no to junk food so you can train your body. Saying no to wasted hours so you can build your craft. Most people fail here because they trade long-term growth for short-term ease. If you can reverse that instinct, you'll stand out immediately. Environment plays a massive role in behavior. If you surround yourself with people who waste time, you'll be tempted to lower your standard. If your workspace is chaotic, your focus will scatter. Structure your environment so it pulls you toward the right behaviors. Make the productive choice the easy choice, and the destructive choice harder to reach. Track your progress. Don't rely on vague feelings. Measure your time, your habits, your results. Numbers and records don't lie. If you're off track, you'll see it clearly. And when you're making progress, you'll have proof that your behaviors are working. Tracking keeps you honest with yourself. Yes, sacrifice will be required. You'll need to let go of comfortable habits that give you nothing back. You may have to distance yourself from people who don't share your values. You may need to cut hobbies or routines that drain your time and energy. But this isn't punishment. It's pruning. Removing what doesn't serve you so that growth has room to flourish. Above all, commit to honesty. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop pretending you're further along than you are. Own the gap between your behavior and your vision, and then close it with consistent action. Excuses might comfort you in the short term, but they guarantee long-term regret. Remember this: the person you are today is a result of yesterday's behaviors. The person you'll be tomorrow is a result of today's. You cannot escape this truth. If you want to live as a stronger, wealthier, healthier, or wiser version of yourself, begin casting votes for that version right now. Not someday, not when life feels easier, not when motivation shows up. Today. When you do this long enough, you stop fighting against yourself. Your actions and your vision finally align. You'll realize one morning that the future you once dreamed about isn't distant anymore. It's simply your present reality. But alignment with your future doesn't come without cost. Along the way, you'll face resistance in the form of discomfort. And discomfort, if you let it scare you, will keep you trapped. That's why the next step is critical. Learning how to turn discomfort into growth until it becomes your new normal. Discomfort is the doorway to growth. Yet most people treat it like a fire alarm. Panic, retreat, escape at the first sign. They mistake discomfort for danger, when in truth, it is the evidence that they are moving beyond their current limits. If you are never uncomfortable, you are not growing. You are maintaining, coasting, staying the same. Think about the strongest seasons of your life. Were they easy? Probably not. They were marked by situations that stretched you. Tough decisions, difficult work, awkward conversations, risks that scared you. Growth is uncomfortable because it demands change. And change threatens the part of you that clings to safety. Your brain is wired to resist discomfort. It wants to keep you alive, not make you excellent. So when you push yourself, waking earlier, lifting heavier, speaking up when you'd rather stay silent, it will whisper, "Stop. You've done enough. You can't handle this." That voice isn't truth, it's resistance. And resistance is the companion of progress. Each time you push through, you train your mind differently. What felt unbearable yesterday becomes routine today. The run that once left you gasping becomes your warm-up. The conversation you once feared becomes a skill. The work session that drained you becomes your baseline. By leaning into discomfort repeatedly, you transform it from an enemy into a teacher. Reframe it. Don't say, "This is too hard." Say, "This is me growing." Don't say, "I can't handle this." Say, "I'm learning how to handle this." Language matters. The way you label discomfort determines whether it paralyzes or empowers you. Start small, but stay consistent. You don't need to leap into your biggest fear today. You only need to step 1 inch past your comfort zone. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Do 1 extra repetition at the gym. Work 10 more minutes when you feel like stopping. These micro-challenges accumulate into resilience. Bit by bit, you become a person who does hard things as a matter of course. And yes, failure will walk alongside discomfort. That's normal. Every bold attempt risks falling short. But failure isn't fatal. It's feedback. Each time you stumble, you learn. Each time you try again, you toughen. The person who avoids discomfort avoids failure, but also avoids growth. The person who embraces both discovers strength that few ever touch. Remember, discomfort is temporary. The hard workout ends. The speech concludes. The tough decision eventually passes, but the strength you build lasts. That strength compounds, carrying into the next challenge and the next. Soon, what once terrified you feels ordinary. That's how discomfort becomes your new normal. Environment plays a role here too. If you surround yourself with people who always avoid difficulty, you'll feel the pressure to retreat as well. But if your circle is filled with those who embrace challenge, their courage becomes contagious. Choose your companions carefully. They'll either reinforce avoidance or inspire resilience. Self-talk is critical in these moments. When you're in the middle of discomfort, your inner voice will decide whether you continue or quit. If you tell yourself, "I can't take this anymore," you're handing yourself permission to stop. If you say, "Just a little more," you give yourself a bridge to keep going. That inner conversation will either sabotage you or save you. Train it deliberately. Track your victories over discomfort. Write them down. Review them often. Nothing builds confidence like proof from your own past. When you can look back and say, "I've done this before," the next challenge feels less intimidating. The record becomes your reminder that discomfort isn't something to fear. It's something you've already conquered. Most of the pain exists in anticipation. You dread the workout more than you suffer through it. You stress over the conversation more than the actual words you speak. You resist starting the project more than doing the work itself. Once you begin, the fear shrinks. Action is the antidote to anticipation. And never forget, motivation won't be there every time. If you wait until you feel like facing discomfort, you'll rarely face it. Discipline is what carries you through. Commit to the schedule, not the mood. Do it whether you want to or not. That's how you build resilience that lasts. Here's the payoff. When discomfort becomes normal, your life expands. You stop holding back. You say yes to opportunities that once scared you. You stop doubting your ability because you've proven to yourself over and over that you can handle more than you thought. The sooner you embrace discomfort, the sooner you take back power. Each time you lean in, you shrink its control. Eventually, you'll no longer see discomfort as a stop sign. You'll see it as a green light, the signal that you're in the exact place growth happens. And here's the next challenge. Beyond discomfort lies rejection. No matter how disciplined you are, you will face no. But instead of seeing rejection as failure, you must learn to treat it as proof that you're in the arena, pushing forward. Rejection is one of the most misunderstood forces in life. For most people, it feels like a verdict, a loud stamp declaring you're not enough. That sting can echo for days, weeks, or even years. It can keep people from trying again, from asking again, from stepping forward into the opportunities that could change everything. But here's the truth. Rejection is not the end of your path. Rejection is proof that you are on the path. Think about it. The only people who never hear no are the ones who never put themselves out there. If you are applying for jobs, starting businesses, asking for raises, pitching your work, or chasing bold opportunities, rejection is inevitable. It comes with the territory. A lack of rejection usually means a lack of risk, and a lack of risk guarantees a lack of growth. Rejection is not failure, it is feedback. It says, you're in the arena, you're testing your limits, you're aiming higher than your comfort zone. That perspective changes everything. Instead of asking, why me, when you face rejection, you can ask, what can I learn here? What do I need to adjust? Or do I simply need to keep going until the right door opens? Here's another perspective. Some of the most successful people in history were rejected repeatedly. Writers turned down by dozens of publishers, entrepreneurs dismissed by investors, leaders ignored or criticized by their peers. Yet they refused to treat no as final. They saw each rejection as a step closer to the yes that mattered. The only way they won was persistence. Rejection also reveals that you're stretching beyond the ordinary. If you only pursue what's safe, you'll rarely get rejected, but you'll also rarely achieve anything extraordinary. Rejection is a sign that you're playing a bigger game. It's the cost of entry for a life that matters. Of course, rejection stings in the moment. That's human. But the sting doesn't have to define you. Feel it, acknowledge it, then release it. Don't carry it longer than necessary. Once the emotion passes, focus on the reality. Was there something to improve? Was it timing? Or was it simply the wrong door? Learn what you can, then move forward. And understand this. Sometimes rejection has nothing to do with your ability. It can be about circumstances, preferences, or perspectives beyond your control. If you hand over your worth to someone else's opinion, you give away your power. Their no is not a judgment of your potential. It's a reflection of their lens in that moment. The best way to grow comfortable with rejection is to seek it on purpose, not recklessly, but strategically. Ask for opportunities that stretch you. Share ideas that may be dismissed, Apply for roles you're not sure you'll get. The more often you face rejection, the less power it has over you. What once felt crushing becomes routine, even motivating. Rejection also sharpens your edge. Each no forces you to refine your approach, improve your skills, and clarify your message. Without rejection, you'd keep repeating the same mistakes unchecked. Rejection is a teacher disguised as a closed door, and sometimes, rejection is protection. A door that closes now may be saving you from years wasted in the wrong place. A person who says no may be making room for the right person to say yes. Many of the best opportunities in life only appear because earlier ones didn't work out. So wear rejection as a badge of honor. If you're being rejected, it means you're trying, stretching, putting yourself in play. It means you're alive in the fight, not sitting safely on the sidelines. Each rejection is a step, not a stop. Here's the key. Rejection is never final unless you let it stop you. The right response to no is action. Apply again. Adjust your strategy. Reach out to someone new. Keep momentum alive. Rejection is just one part of the process, not the end of it. And when you practice this long enough, rejection stops feeling like a wall. It feels like a milestone. You stop fearing it and start expecting it. You even welcome it, knowing it's part of the journey towards something better. Now, as you've learned to treat rejection as progress, there's one final shift to make. Because it's not just about how you handle the outside world, it's about who you become on the inside. The ultimate test of mindset is living with integrity and identity, holding to your standards even when no one is watching. That is where this journey ends, and where your true mastery begins. We began this journey with a simple but powerful truth. Your mind is either your greatest asset or your greatest limitation. And over these 7 sections, we have walked through the building blocks of transforming your inner world. Clarity, discipline, behaviors, discomfort, rejection, and ultimately, identity. Together, they form a framework that doesn't just inspire for a moment, but reshapes the very way you live. Think back to the pieces you've gathered. First came clarity, the target your mind needs. Without it, life is wandering, busy, but directionless. Then came the battle against weak thoughts. The uninvited guests that, if allowed, would set the ceiling for your life. You learned to replace them, to speak strength where weakness once whispered. From there, you turned to emotional discipline, pausing between trigger and response, reclaiming the power to choose how you will act no matter what feelings arise. Next came behaviors, the daily votes for the person you are becoming. Not grand declarations, but ordinary choices repeated consistently, carving your future with precision. And when those choices led you into discomfort, you discovered that discomfort was not a stop sign, but a growth signal, the very place where strength is born. From discomfort, we moved into rejection. You saw that rejection isn't proof of inadequacy, but proof you are in the arena, stretching past your limits, daring to be told no, so that you can one day arrive at the yes that matters most. And finally, we arrived at identity, the anchor of everything. Because tactics and strategies may shift, but who you decide to be remains the foundation. You are the one who acts with integrity when no one sees, who builds stamina by doing hard things daily, who declares every morning, "I am capable of more." All these pieces fit together into a single truth. The life you deserve is built from the inside out. You don't wait for luck, you don't beg for permission, and you don't drift in circles. You choose, you commit. You live by a standard that does not depend on moods or applause. That's mastery of mindset. Not a temporary high, but a steady, disciplined way of living. And now, let's bring it home. From this moment forward, you don't wait for inspiration. You don't wait for the right time. You act according to the standard you've set. Because discipline will carry you further than motivation ever could. Consistency will outlast bursts of excitement. And identity will hold you steady when everything else feels uncertain. Here's what I want you to do next. Tonight, or first thing tomorrow, take out a blank page. Write one clear vision for your future and the reason behind it. Then, choose one uncomfortable action, 15 minutes of work, a conversation you've been avoiding, a task you've been delaying, and do it. Not later, not someday. Now. That simple act will prove to yourself that you are in charge of your mind, not the other way around. Remember this: you don't wait for motivation, you act by standard. You don't lower yourself to moods, you rise to identity. From this day forward, you are the person who chooses clarity, who rejects weakness, who disciplines emotions, who aligns behaviors, who embraces discomfort, who learns from rejection, and who lives by integrity. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you get swept into the noise of the world, write 3 lines: my goal, my why, my next action. That simple ritual will anchor you daily in the life you're building. Your mind is your greatest asset. Master it, and there is no ceiling on what you can create.